important conference. As Dr. Kunta has said, my name is Kettie Harawa. I'm from Malawi. I work for Water for People. I'm here to present on behalf of Gordon Mumbo, whom we once worked together at Water for People some years ago. Unfortunately, he cannot be with us today. So I'll be presenting on his behalf, but I believe in also whatever he had put in place. As you may be aware, the Sustainable Development Goals were signed at the UN General Assembly in September 2015. So it's about 5 years now since these SDGs were signed in the General Assembly. However, as I'm speaking now, very few people are aware about these goals. And for your own information, for Africa, there is a center that was established a year later in July 2016 in Kigali, Rwanda. And the purpose for this center was that it should provide technical support, neutral advice, and expertise as input to the national governments, private sector, civil society, academic institutions, and also help implementation of the SDG agenda across Africa. It's got 4 pillars: policy research and analysis, innovation and outreach, partnership and financing, and corporate services. As I'm speaking now, I don't know how many people have accessed this support from the center and how many people are even aware about this center. Maybe after my keynote speech, I would want to see by a show of hands from the participants here to say how many are aware about this center. So as you know, the SDGs are really high level. It's a platform at very high level in governments. However, the level of awareness, even within governments and the other stakeholders, is still very low. Maybe just within a few key people within the government. There is no dedicated ministries responsible for SDGs in many African countries. Maybe just for a few, I think, maybe let me not speculate, but they're very few. Lumped together with in many countries, it's just lumped together with many other development activities. Outreach and citizen mobilization is still very low, even within the pillar number 2, and there are no clear plans. I don't know from participants that are here who can tell me that in our country, we do have the outreach, we do mobilization, and even the citizens at the lowest level do know. So information sharing is very weak in most countries. And most countries do not have dedicated repository where citizens can get the information. So we are in 5 years into the SDGs, but still very little is known, let alone things happening on the ground. My request to the participants today is, how can we improve awareness among stakeholders? So I would propose a few things: improve engagement with public, and other key stakeholders. How do we do this? How can we improve the engagement? Establish portals where citizens can see the progress of their countries on implementation, progress of the SDGs, where people are able to go and say, okay, Malawi, this is where we are. Uganda, this is where we are. India, this is where we are. So that it's not a secret, but everyone else knows. Plan and conduct more awareness raising activities on SDGs with different stakeholders, different departments, ministries, where people get to be aware of where we are, what needs to be done, and when can we get there. open budgeting processes for SDGs for citizens to participate. So as governments are budgeting, align with SDGs and let citizens participate and know where they are going and where they are at that particular time, and what more resources, what are the gaps that are needed to achieve SDGs. Engage stakeholders in the development of SDG performance indicators. And I'm talking of meaningful engagements. How can we continue in terms of improving stakeholder engagement on SDGs? Organization on expert panels on SDG performance at country level. I'm happy for Dr. Kunta, Mr. Satya, on what they're doing at the moment in organizing a conference like this one. But these need to trickle down at country level, where people and experts can talk on the performance of SDGs. Encourage public hearing on countries' performance reports submitted to the UN and other organizations. The citizens in the countries are not aware what is happening. They don't know where they are. So this should be encouraged. Newsletters and bulletins on performance at country levels should be shared, should be prepared and shared. And public education in learning institutions on SDGs. Schools need to know that there are sustainable development goals available. They should know, even as learners, as the students in universities, in primary schools, need to know that we as children, we belong to this. And whatever is happening is in line with this, so that as they grow, they are part and parcel of what is happening. We shouldn't just leave everything to government. And as citizens, as experts, we really need to make sure that our specific SDG goals are known by every citizen. In that